So we're going to switch back over to our regular Chat with Sid session. We've got a couple of people who are going to do some presentations for us in a little bit. With that, I'm going to throw it back over to Sid.
Thanks very much. And thank you, Emma. It was a really terrific show. Thank you. Really, it was as soon as I read it, it was like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this next. Right on point. Politics is perfect and light, and it's just such a nice relationship between these two characters. And I, like some of the guys who've been watching it tonight, was thinking, I wonder what happens next. So let's wheel in our first patient.
We have a birthday.
Oh, yes.
Perna.
Hello.
It's your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I remember you did. Can everybody go off mute, please?
Happy birthday, Perna.
Happy birthday, Perna.
Happy
birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy day.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody.
How are you today? How has your birthday been?
My birthday's been pretty good so far. I haven't really done much birthday-ish just yet.
It's your first COVID birthday.
It's my what? Sorry?
First COVID birthday.
Yes.
Got to throw a kink in works.
Yes. Well, I'm actually, due to COVID, I don't want to diminish what COVID has done to people and the horrors of it and everything that has come from it. But I will say that due to COVID, I've actually had the blessing of actually quarantining with my family. And not being alone in my little apartment a couple states away.
Absolutely.
So I feel very blessed that I'm here with my family during COVID.
It's not wrong to find the bright side of this. It's absolutely essential.
Well, this whole community and being able to talk to everyone here and talk to you is another very bright side of this.
Thank you. Well, I agree. This community is the bright side of it. Did you talk to anyone? Did you reach out to some friends? Did anybody say hi, or was it just you and your family today? It's a special day with the family.
So I mean, I have been getting messages from my friends, my very dear friends. I've been getting phone calls from my family. I've got, several friends on this Zoom right now that are also watching, and I love them all so very much.
Do you remember what you did on your last birthday?
One of my friends called and got her whole family to sing for me on the phone. So that was fun. I have to tell you, because this is absolutely ridiculous. So my boss, he's very extra without being intense, which I very much appreciate. So he's got the most ridiculous sense of humor. And he loves to tease me. And occasionally I try to hit back, and it sort of works sometimes it doesn't. But I don't remember why this came up, but I told him that I like this poem that's written by Wisława Szymborska, which I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but she's a Polish Nobel laureate, if people don't know. And she wrote this very silly, but also kind of profound poem about onions. I think it's just a very nice, quirky little poem. It's very funny and cute. And I mentioned to him, I was like, when I have a kitchen that I can decorate, I want to hang it up in my kitchen. I think that'd just be a really nice decoration. Then last night I received an e-card from him that has, the quirky, cheesy little music that and cartoon and everything. And then the part where the card starts to read the custom message, it's the third stanza from the Onion poem being read to me in this really weird robot voice. So it's very bizarre. There's this gnome that's kind of looking side-eyed, and the voice is being ostensibly done by this rock that's kind of shaking on the screen.
Do you still have this card?
I do have it.
Because you know what I'm going to ask you.
Oh dear.
You should open it and let it play its song for us.
Oh dear. Okay.
No, don't. If it's embarrassing, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's not embarrassing. It's very silly. So I mean, if people really want to see it, I'll show it.
And it's your birthday. I think the only thing we can do is share it.
Oh dear. Okay. Let me bring it up.
Don't let us see any writing.
Hang on. If I do this, can you hear it?
Yep.
birthday printer, a piece of a piece internally at rest. Inside it, there's a smaller one of undiminished worth. The second holds a third one, the third contains a fourth, a centripetal fugue, polyphony compressed. Happy birthday printer.
Oh, that actually is very sweet. That is not silly at all. And that poem is terrific. I was thinking it was going to be about the onion. That you know, we all know people, the many-layered onion that is a person. That's fantastic.
He finds ways to be sweet, but also just with this incredible dry humor at the same time.
Well, that's great. I love those people. They keep the world kind of spinning on its axis.
Yeah, well, I can barely make it through a joke without laughing halfway and completely bumbling the rest of it. So.
And are you working remotely? Is that what's happening?
Yes, I am. I was just going to say that I just got off my workday before this started. So this session is at the perfect time.
Did we have a conversation before?
Relating to what I do, or
about you and everything?
I remember before. Well, there was the time where I gave you like the 2-minute elevator speech of why Elmi's play meant so much to me and all of us.
That I do know. What do you do?
So I'm
in the ballpark.
I'm a UX designer. A lot of people have never heard of that.
I have never heard.
So UX stands for user experience. And so I think the easiest way that I can explain this is with a metaphor. So you know the heating system in your house, right? And it's made up of all these different parts, and it's got the wires and the pipes that are in the wall and the vents, and then there's the little bit that you fiddle with on the wall and everything. And so when you are interacting with your heating system or your AC or anything, you're not interacting with any of those pipes that are in the wall. You're not necessarily touching the vents or the wires or anything. So you're interacting with the little bit on the wall that lets you adjust it, and then so that's the interface of the heating system, that and maybe the vents where it comes out of. And then the experience, the overall experience, because the user interface is part of the user experience. It's a small subset of it. The overall experience is basically, your experience of your heating system or your AC, how you feel in your house, how it interacts with other aspects of your house, whether or not it causes bits of your house to creak in the middle of the night, of course, whether or not you're comfortable at a nice temperature, how easily you're able to adjust the temperature.
And what sort of things, what kind of genre of things do you design the interface for?
I right now work for a company that is, it's actually it was acquired by Johnson & Johnson a little while back, but we provide a platform for surgeons to continue to receive feedback and technical scoring for their surgeries, for their techniques. So they will have their surgical videos uploaded, and they receive expert feedback from experts in their field, and they will receive technical scores along a standard rubric, and they also are able to receive peer feedback and give peer feedback and receive all other sorts of insights within the community.
You might not know the answer to this, but that seems extraordinarily laborious to re-watch a surgery to adjudicate a surgeon. Can be very lengthy procedures, and I suspect they're the ones that need adjudication more than any other. So who on earth adjudicates them? Surely not other surgeons, because there's not enough time in the day for them to watch a surgery.
So there's a couple different ways this works, right? So there's the qualitative feedback they receive, and the qualitative feedback, it does need to come from a surgeon, because they're the ones who know what they're talking about, what technique is appropriate where, and whether or not they're dissecting in the correct plane. Or just a side note, I've been totally desensitized to seeing video of surgery.
Oh, you must have been.
I can eat my lunch and watch that. It probably helps that I'm vegetarian, actually. But the expert surgeons, they receive an anonymized bit of and they're told to watch a certain part of it that has already been by our internal team highlighted as this is this step. So watch this 10-minute portion. You can watch more before or after to get the context of the surgery if you want, but this is the bit that you're going to be giving feedback on. So there's typically two.
Such a massively interesting thing. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
that's all right.
Obviously, they can't watch the whole thing, but the fact that there is a company out there in the world that delivers bits of surgical procedure to experts to adjudicate, to check, to judge, to help constructively another surgeon to say, yeah, maybe you want to take the left leg, not the right leg next time. The fact that it even exists gives me such faith in the system, because that's a really advanced, highly sophisticated piece. I mean, it's so much better than, you know, people giving marks out of 10 for a hospital when you leave, you know. The fact that the surgeons have each other's backs is really profoundly cool.
So there is continuing medical education, but when it comes to actually having someone else observing you performing a surgery and giving you feedback, that has been so difficult to schedule because surgeons are so busy. They're always busy.
My first point is like, how do you do this?
Exactly. Another way we kind of ease up the burden on surgeons a little bit, technical side of things, the quantitative metrics that we give are on things such as bimanual dexterity or force sensitivity, or things that you don't really need to be a surgeon to be able to give accurate feedback on. And we have validated time and again through very rigorous study that a group of 32 crowd workers who have been trained to recognize what good and bad along those parameters is, but are not surgeons themselves, will give the same feedback within like 0.1 or less of the same score that a surgeon would give.
Fantastic. What a fantastic thing. Are you getting into the world of robotics?
Yes, actually. So what we actually do, the videos that we assess and we host are robotic and laparoscopic surgery, because they already have video involved in that, because it has to be video assisted so that the surgeon can see what they're doing inside the patient, right? Because that's the whole point of it being minimally invasive, right? So that's the area that we inhabit currently.
Interesting, because I'm told I've never really understood the whole thing behind 3G, 4G, 5G, but someone explained it to me the other day that the innovation of 5G as a mobile network, regardless of Huawei or China or all that stuff, that's just background noise. But the actual innovative product, the thing that is going to create lightning fast speeds for mobile across the mobile network and not hardwired into a kind of fiber optic thing, which is going to make the whole fiber optic thing obsolete, is the primary thing that really convinced me it was a good idea, was that surgery could be done remotely for the first time ever with any degree of scientific reliability. And you will not get the same problems as you would with ordinary latency in even a very fast network, which is not fast enough, not as fast as human thought. I maybe just bought a wagon load of baloney. Apparently, this is about as close to as the speed of thought that you can get. My own latency, hand to brain, is already so out of whack that 5G is absolutely pointless. Really, I play like Destiny 2 right now, and I see a bad guy, I think about what to do, and I'm in that whole process, I'm dead, because I have completely reacted way too slowly. And if I just thought, well, if I'd done that, take a step left, jumped over that rock, I'd be fine. But I didn't. I was like, I could jump over the rock, or I could go down to the fridge and get a beer. So anyway, I just wishing you a big happy birthday. Thank you for sharing that story with us and letting us know what you do, because it is truly fascinating.
Thank you. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
You're our trailblazer, EZ designer. Is it easy?
UX, user experience.
Yes.
That's all right.
Thanks, Perna. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Okay, we're going to go over to Jen, who has a couple of friends that she'd like to introduce us to.
Yes.
You wanted to see them. Don't get grossed out.
I love them. Look at those guys.
Yeah.
That is a python?
Sorry, Twinkie. It's a ball python.
It's a ball python. My goodness. What an astonishing creature.
Yeah, she's a caramel albino breed, or morph. So she got bought from the breeders, and we got them from my husband's old work. They were trying to get rid of them because they wanted to breed different colors.
Wow.
So we got a real great deal.
Oh, that's fantastic. And does she get all nice and toasty wrapped around your neck like that?
That's why she's there, because I'm hot and the living room is cold.
And do you ever get slightly nervous that they're constricting by nature?
They can theoretically strangle a human being around the neck, but only if they're like scared or, you know, someone's being aggressive or something. We've never had any problems like that.
It's quite an astonishing thing. I mean, it really is. It's like you've got an ornament that moves and you know, do stuff. And what a beautiful thing! And what's its name?
Twinkie.
Twinkie.
We didn't name her. I call her Twinkles a lot, and sometimes we just call her Waffles because she looks like waffles. So.
And you say you have 2?
I have 3, but the third one is very difficult to hold because she gets really anxiety. She gets a lot of anxiety, so we only hold her once in a while. But
how do you judge anxiety in a snake?
Her tail will actually like vibrate when she's doesn't want to be picked up.
And I'm just trying to understand. Do you get to know them in terms of personality?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Twinkie likes to just hang out and chill. Monty will do that briefly, and then she'll go exploring. So she likes to check out all the living room, and we don't let her because we'll never see her again.
Yeah, so she can get through little holes and crevices you couldn't possibly get her out of.
Yeah. So my husband's willing to get Monty, but I don't know I'm going to be able to get Twinkie off.
Don't do anything to upset Twinkie. Twinkie doesn't need to be upset right now. Not by some she hasn't met on a you know, computer Zoom chat. She's in her bubble with her parental figure. Yeah. And did you read about yesterday morning the Australian gentleman who walked into his living room?
Yeah, and the part of the ceiling had come down and they had carpet pythons. And and they're missing the female still. Those were 2 males, and they couldn't find the female, and they said, with 2 males, there's a female in your house.
Yes.
And they couldn't find her, and I was just like, oh my God. But they grow to be much bigger. Twinkie and Monty are only going to be like 4 feet.
That's still pretty intimidating. I mean, I think people get slightly creepy crawlies about snakes because they're so quiet, and they you know, they just, then they can, and the way they move, they can just get around anywhere, and they're mythical. I mean, they've got mythical sort of stature.
But she's so soft. Like, she's not slimy. She's just really soft, and they're great. I mean,
she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. And do you have to, obviously you feed them not very often?
Not all that often, no.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And do you find something synthetic, or do you just get a dead little thing?
Well, it's real, it's frozen, and we thaw it out and then we feed them. Ball pythons take rats, small rats, and the corn snake takes adult mice. And
do they take a long time to eat, or do they kind of get it over with very quickly?
Well, they strike at it. Sorry, I shouldn't move my hand suddenly. They strike at it, and then they sort of wrap around it and suffocate it, even though it's already dead. They have to. It's nature.
Yeah.
And then they're still holding on to them, and then they usually drag them into their hide or something and start eating them. Yeah. But we try not to watch because we don't want to bother them because they don't really like an audience.
I don't blame them. I don't like an audience when I'm eating either. I'm fine without an audience. I don't mind my wife, my family, that's enough audience for me. And what inspired you when did you get excited by snakes and realize that you were an amphibian lover?
Well, actually, my husband was the one who wanted the snakes. And I was just like, no, before I'd ever felt one. And then we were in PetSmart, and he was like, just let's look. And I felt it, and I was like, I was in love.
Wow.
Like, I was in love with Rusty. She was so amazing.
Because they're so soft and you know, they've got this, well, I'm not sure, I felt a snake, but very, very briefly. But it's the softness that you got us excited by?
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't biting. She wasn't like doing anything weird. She was just kind of hanging out in my hand. And so I thought, yeah, this is fun. I could do this.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And And so has your husband been collecting snakes most of his life, or is it a new thing for him?
We just started buying pets 2 years after we'd been married, or 1 year after we got married, and like we had 6 guinea pig and 4 snakes at the time.
Wow, that's like
over the time.
You've got lunch in the house and the snakes who like to eat again.
Yeah, I think guinea pigs might be too big for these snakes, but you never know.
You never know. And do you have any other animals like dogs or cats or anything like that?
No, we're not allowed. We had to get special permission to have the snakes in the apartment from a doctor saying that they're his emotional support pets. So,
do they have little emotional support pet vests they have to wear?
No.
I'm being facetious. I think it's in New York, and someone can look this up and tell me if it's true. But you can have only like a couple of different animals as emotional support animals.
Legally, we can't have the snakes as official emotional support animals. But if a doctor fills out a form, it's good enough.
Right. And what does a doctor know? I mean, let's face facts. Doctors have no idea whether a snake would be good emotional support. A psychiatrist might.
It was actually a psychiatrist, so.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't just a standard doctor.
Yeah, you take a couple of Valium and have a snake. You're gonna expand this.
If we move,
yeah.
I don't know. Too many snakes, and you got too much to like take care of.
Yeah,
you know?
They compete. They compete with each other.
They're in separate tanks.
But are they sociable at all? Do they not do they like it when one's hanging out with you and the other's still in the tank? It's like, hey.
They don't care.
They don't
care.
They just want to eat and wrap around your neck.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty ideal pet to me.
It actually is, and you can like line their enclosures with paper towels if they're not diggers, and so that's what we do, and it's a really easy cleanup.
And you can go on vacation for 2 weeks, ostensibly, if they don't have to eat.
Yeah, but they might run out of water or like rest their tanks or something, and you really got to be on top of that.
See, I would get lazy. I'd be like, yeah, they're fine. They won't be hungry for days yet. So how are you? How is your life since we last talked?
Well, it was only 2 weeks ago, but my cough is getting better slowly, but I don't know. I'm okay other than that.
Yeah.
Things are going well.
But I do think your snake is just the most beautiful thing, I have to say. I don't know if I'm desperately going to run out and get a snake, but you were the same way until you felt one. So maybe I'm going to go out to the store.
When you like go check them out, I don't think you're really going to do it, but when you go check them out at the store, just for general knowledge, if it's biting you right away, you may want to like wait till it's older so that it may not bite, because like there were baby corn snakes one time when we were there, and it just kept biting the guy's hand, but they were so small it didn't hurt.
A bad sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all our snakes don't bite. I did get bit once because I had my hand in the tank and the ball python missed the rat I was holding and hit my hand. Right. And the same thing happened to Jason, but other than that, they don't bite.
Wow. See, what's happening now would probably freak me out. Creeping around the back of my neck. Yeah, absolutely. Going into my ear. My goodness, no, don't go in my ear.
It tickles when she goes in my ear. She goes after my glasses too.
Well, she's beautiful, and thank you for bringing her on. And I hope it wasn't too inconvenient. I don't want to keep her out, so I'm gonna.
She's gonna be here for hours if she's sort of sleeping, but.
Okay. Yeah. No, she's being inquisitive right now. She's busy. She's in curious mode. She's been in your ear. She's gonna take your glasses next. Clearly.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, Twinkie. Renee, you all right over there? Oh, Renee spent this whole time peeking through her fingers or just not looking at the screen at all. Okay, you're good. Just a tip, you can always pin a different video to your view screen, so that's all you see.
Yeah.
Just something to keep in mind.
And what could be wrong with a small snake slithering into your ear?
Who knows? I mean, yeah, I think you're sending her over the edge.
Who wouldn't like that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on. We are going to John, who I believe you spoke with at GalaxyCon.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Hi, John.
Not too bad. Long time no talk.
Good to see you. My goodness,
Absolutely.
you've got like a recreation room there. Oh no, this is your store.
This is the store.
This is your store. This is the store.
This
How
is Kazan.
fantastic.
I can't do too much of a walk around with the.
I just want to tell everybody I
video.
met you at GalaxyCon over the weekend, and you were in this store, and I asked you to come back and show us around because everybody loves all this stuff.
That is that's the Star Trek wall over there that I was sitting in front of for our video.
Yeah, you were.
Then way back where the tan wall is, there's a whole nother room, which still needs to get sheetrock and everything put up into it. But those are all Star Trek figures hanging up on that.
Wow. And where in the world are you?
New York.
Great. So if people are walking by, because we've got a few New Yorkers, and they should pop in and say hi.
Several of our crewmates are on here. We are launching a ship with Starfleet Command, hence the uniform. It is in honor of Aaron, who many of us got to become really good friends with. It is the USS Aaron Eisenberg.
Oh.
So we are commissioning on the 21st of this month, and I think I have 3 of my crew that are in here: Christine, Ed, and Heather.
Hi guys. Thank you for coming.
A pleasure.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. What a great thing you're doing. What a great thing you're doing. Really, it's a beautiful commemorative gesture. Thanks.
It is. I had talked to Aaron. He'd messaged me a few weeks prior to his passing because he was coming out to New York, and he wanted to do a big event here, which sadly we didn't get a chance to do.
Sure.
But it was on his list.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, good luck with the commissioning. Some people could be waiting for an opportunity just to join a fleet vessel like that because of Aaron.
Absolutely. We do have a number of people that are going to be joining as honorary members, which is one of the things I wanted to do is offer you an honorary position aboard ship.
Thank you. Thank you. As cook, busboy?
No, a VIP.
I'll give you a little higher position than that. We can find a spot for you easy enough.
I would be honored. Please send the invitation to Mel, and I will absolutely accept.
I will. And when we get the Facebook event done up for the commissioning, because we're going to be doing the commissioning via Zoom. Like, I've been a Star Trek fan since I was little. I'd never made it to a convention. I'd never gotten to meet anybody prior to a few years ago. JG was running for Congress.
That's
and
right.
I'd seen a person running local with JG Hertzler, and I'm like, there's no way that's who I think it is. And I looked him up, and I started sharing his posts. I started helping him with his campaign, and he pretty much like adopted me almost.
Wow,
so I've
that's
gone out
great.
to Vegas for the past few years, which is how I got to meet Aaron and so many others that I now consider friends.
Yeah, that's great. He's a wonderful human being. I mean, a really gorgeous man. Every time I've seen him, and that's not many times in the last 20 years, the odd convention where we're lucky to bump into each other as actors, he just lit up the place. He's just got this wonderful energy, and so gregarious and like a lion. He's got that.
Especially when you get him and Bob O'Reilly together.
What is the hottest selling thing in this sort of store right now?
Our main focus is miniatures, Warhammer 40K, stuff like that, tabletop wargaming, lots of Star Wars miniatures, so on and so forth. They do have a couple of Star Trek games out. So our main thing with our biggest community is those things. Magic is secondary, but during COVID, Magic kind of took priority because nobody was gathering together to play big tabletop war games.
Yeah. Do you watch the Wheaton podcast, the tabletop gaming podcast?
I don't. I need to.
I'm so impressed by what he's doing, about all the things, all the different things he's doing, especially getting up a whole kind of geekdom tabletop gaming podcast with new guests every week, all have to play games. There's actually my friend Colin, who's online, who's the guy who pointed it out to me, who's our quiz master. I mean, when I was into it properly back in the day, no one really knew what Magic was. It was like, have you ever heard of Magic? No?
They're pricey.
Yes.
They're very pricey.
And I actually when we moved from Los Angeles to New York when Django was 3, I kept some cards, but nothing special. And because we had a garage sale out on the front, and put all my cards on the garage sale table for kids. I have to tell you, not one kid bought any, but adults did. They all took the cards. What's your favorite game? What would you recommend to people here? What would you say? This will make your family. This will be just great.
It depends on what you're talking. Are you going cheap, or are you looking at a little more on the expensive side?
How expensive do they get, as a matter of interest?
A game like Warhammer, a small army, you're probably looking about $500. If you're playing with a large army like orcs that require like 300-400 models, you're looking like $2K.
Wow, this is like what used to be, what those guys in the Victorian days used to do. They had soldiers and they did the Charge of the Light Brigade and stuff. So you put it like Napoleonic warfare, but with orcs.
I've got pictures that I can also send to Mel, so you can see them of all the tables that I have set up over in the game room. They're 4x6 tables with all sorts of cityscapes.
Why are we seeing this? This is crazy.
Because my camera won't reach out there. It's on a cord. I need to get a wireless one.
Such a good
that way
idea.
we can do it again.
Oh my goodness! So you really are specializing in a really niche area. That's very smart. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on and actually taking me up on my word. You're welcome back. When you get a wireless camera, I'd love to find. I really love all this stuff. I love specialty stores apart from anything else. But I love anyone who can go deep into something and show me unusual versions of things that I find commonplace. It's like, wow.
We'll get you out here.
Right.
We'll do some event.
Teach me how to play Warhammer.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for coming along.
Stay safe. Thanks again.
Thank you too.
Thank you, John. All right. So speaking of unusual things, we're going to go to Kalia, who is not the unusual thing, but she makes something unusual.
Hello, Kalia again.
Hello. Jay, I think, is a kindred spirit. He's actually all set up here so he can listen to the chat and play Destiny 2 on his laptop. So
brilliant.
He's sitting here doing that right now. Which is why he's off screen.
Fantastic. That's so awesome. That is so cool. I just hit 1066, my character, so I haven't been playing very long.
Where are you?
I'm at 1062, so
it's pretty gnarly. I don't know how I'm going to raid because I don't know anyone. You've got to know people.
Raiding this weekend if you want to join the party.
Oh my goodness! It's cross-platform now, isn't it?
What do you play on?
Xbox. I thought they'd made it completely cross-platform, so you can play PC, Xbox, all on the same.
You can use your same character, and then they're hoping for next year actually being able to play across platform.
So you can use your character. You have to rebuild your thing with a mouse and a keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here mouse and keyboard is a much more efficient way to play.
I usually just plug in a controller when I'm playing on the computer. I'm
okay. All right.
Definitely not the best with the mouse and keyboard. So.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming in, and absolutely, we'll try and figure out how to get that sorted out. But obviously, with Xbox, not going to work out. If I could be bothered to build a character again, it's so many hours. You must know about how many hours it takes for him to do that. He could be a space engineer by now. He might already be one.
We scheduled time when I promise I won't bother him, so we can go and play Destiny. So.
My wife and I cook dinner and then we have the evenings together, and then she works through the day, and we'll meet up for lunch, and the rest of the time that's day in, day out, every single day. It's just not going to work out. For someone who isn't massively social anyway, you know, I was always like by myself doing my own thing.
He has to actually go to a different part of the house, so I remember not to bother him because
Yeah.
I'm like that person that doesn't go out of my way to be in a group, but I'm actually very social once I get there. So
Right.
if it's us in the house, he's the only one for me to talk to. So I have to be like, okay, he's in the basement, leave him alone.
Do you like to talk doing TV shows?
We might do it, like if it's something we've both seen before, then we'll both talk over it. It's like a dialogue, but I don't like talk over something we haven't seen.
I love my wife, but she will pause the TV every minute and a half to say something. And if you're watching a new show, you go, wait, I have no idea what's happening in the show anymore. What do you do to recreate recreation?
I'm a very goal-oriented person. So this whole period of time has been really tricky for me. So I'm lucky that we have the triple business because I can, you know, at least I tell myself I'm working and I'm just on Twitter talking to my Star Trek friends, but I'm like, it's for the job. So that has been
you are
good.
working. No, that's unfair to you.
You've
got to keep those friends.
It's good for me. It's been really good. I mean, we're lighting designers, so Jay teaches it at high school.
Yeah.
And I am a freelance lighting designer, so right now I have no work.
No.
So I'm actually back. I start tomorrow. I'm in grad school for lighting design, which is now going to be remote. Since I'm type 1 diabetic, I'm just choosing to stay
Smart
home.
move. Smart move. And lighting design doesn't you don't need to be there. I mean, there are some things it'd be nice to see in person, but you can do an awful lot remotely.
It's going to be an interesting opportunity to learn some of the visualization software that I'm not like, the art side of it is the thing that comes more naturally to me, and I have to work more at the technology side of it. So this is an opportunity, like I can't avoid the technology side of it. I'm going to have to be rendering my projects.
And what does it entail now? Because when I was growing up, lighting designers were exclusively theatrical. I mean, there were some concert venues but no one had lighting designers for weddings or anything like that. And you basically had lighting designers because you were doing a show, and it was hugely technical. We would do a 4-week rehearsal. You probably know all this because you've lit many shows. But we come in for the tech, and actors hate the tech.
Yeah. You know what? It's not great for us either. It's super stressful.
I know, because it's 2 days of 400 cues. You don't get to say any of your lines. You're just sitting around waiting, and then you just go up, and then you stand up, and someone does something, and you wait, and you stand to your left, and then someone moves something, and you go, and it's like move on, and you've got to write that cue down.
And I'm the person that you all are hating while you're sitting on the stage.
What's your favorite genre of show to light?
I'm always the person that is gonna pick the like obscure play that's about something important.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love theater and I love storytelling. But I'm actually, it's funny, I'm in grad school right now for lighting design, but I'm in grad school for lighting design to actually study installation and mixed media art. Actually, I have some images that I sent to Mel, but I took a welding class when I was in undergrad and fell in love with metal sculpture. And it was actually my lighting design professor who one day was just like, you know, I think you're actually a sculptor. I don't know if you know that. And that kind of like blew my mind because it was always this kind of like side project for me.
Wow.
And since then I have really been really focusing on doing sculptural work that also integrates like light. So it might be sculpture and light and all these different things that become these mixed media pieces. So my current like thesis project that I'm working on involves kind of all of that all together and is also about saving tigers because they're my favorite animal.
Dude, that is astonishing.
My advisor from undergrad is allowing me to essentially replace a lot of the lighting design courses with School of Visual Arts courses.
Quite right.
I can focus on combining different media into the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I had never done plasma cutting, so this was kind of a project that I got to learn how to use a plasma cutter and really kind of render a full sculpture in 3 dimensions. Her name is Kalis, which I know Kalis was a he, but I love the idea that a woman can be a warrior as well. So this for me was kind of like a personal exploration in like, I was learning a new skill, but also kind of exploring like that whole idea.
What is this made of?
It's steel plate and steel rod. So there's a skeleton underneath that is all rod. And so that's like everywhere where you see a line in the plate, there's rod underneath that kind of forms that shape.
That is really talented. Have you ever thought about what happens when you have you experimented with weatherizing this metal?
Not with a dragon that took me as much time to make as it did.
Yeah, no, the metal itself. Because I'm just curious how that burnishes, how that gets.
So this was a piece that I did. It actually ended up being combined with lighting as well, but it was a piece that was about this idea that if we, we've urbanized everything, but if we leave all of that alone, nature kind of comes back and wins. So I picked a ginkgo tree because they've been around since basically the time of the dinosaurs. It's Jay's favorite tree. He loves dinosaurs a lot. But this idea that it could like kind of grow up through the sidewalk and come back. So the tree itself is like cut out and then painted to be kind of golden, but the plate that's the brick I actually sprayed with water and left it outside so that it would rust.
That's what I was wondering.
Tree versus this kind of old rusty urban decay kind of thing that's going on.
It's really great idea.
And then when it got to the point where I didn't want it to rust anymore, then there's a coating that you can put on it so that it's only rusted that much.
So let's face facts. You're really a sculptor, but lighting design might be your day job.
Well, but then this was a piece, I actually made this into an installation art piece where I lit it with multiple light sources and created a soundtrack that was all made from different sounds that came from metal. So you walked in and there were wires and everything everywhere, and it was this kind of like industrial space. But as the industrial sounds faded away and wind chimes replaced it, like I lit it with multiple sources so that multiple trees kind of grew up around it. So out of this small tree grew a forest. So I'm kind of interested in creating narratives like that, where there is a sculptural element, but a part of a larger story that's being.
There's an artist I grew up with, one of my mother's best friends, and there were two artists. They were both brothers. One was called Andrew Logan, and one was called Peter Logan. And Andrew Logan was famous in his world, but Peter did these amazing sculptures, these metal sculptures, and I was fascinated by them as a kid because they were mobiles, they moved, and they were 30 foot. I mean, they were huge pieces, but they would just move with the weather, and they were all just on some kind of mechanism that allowed them to free rotate when they needed to. So you should look up Peter Logan and see if that excites you, because movement, or the illusion of movement with light, could be really interesting. I mean, there's you breaking into all kinds of cool territory. Jay, what do you think?
We both took the welding class in our undergrad, and I made a bench. It's cool. It's like a rocking bench. It's kind of a mix of practical and artistic, but
wow.
Kelia then went and made a tiger, full size and scale out of
oh my goodness,
like that. So
we want to catch up, both of you. Jay, you're gonna have to come in again, and we're going to see some more stuff because and you can tell us a bit more about because this is all fascinating, and this is artisanal stuff that is really traditional, but is turning into a really modern, technologically interesting. And I'm not talking about the computer element. I'm talking about the use of metal and the use of light and metal. I mean, I've seen some wonderful sculptures of things that look like they're made of mercury out in the middle of the country, but they're 40 foot big. And you go, how does a drop of mercury land in this green field and it's 40 feet big? But come back, please. And I'm going to talk to one more person before we clock off tonight.
Okay, our final victim for today is Ed.
How you doing, Sid?
Ed, you are on the about to be commissioned Aaron Eisenberg.
I'm also a part of another ship that I actually lead in New York City.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Well, it's lovely to meet you.
a pleasure to meet you too, sir. Obviously, I like Star Trek a little, but one of the best roles I've seen you play in was Kingdom of Heaven.
Oh, yes.
History really gets to me, and I really love the history classes. And watching you play a brilliant character, especially your first introduction, where you were the slave.
I was so lucky.
Yes, it was a beautiful movie, and
thank you.
Your portrayal in that was excellent.
Thank you very much. I can tell you a bit about that movie.
Please.
I don't very often talk about acting when we do these things. We've got so many other things to talk about, but I'm very happy to when I get a chance. I think we shot that in about 2004. I think it may have come out 2006, 2005, something like that. Obviously, 9/11 had happened. The paint wasn't dry, you know.
Right.
It was, for Fox to do that movie was incredibly brave, really cool. Especially not because, I mean, anyone could have seen a Crusader movie coming, because let's nail it.
It's what you wanted, yeah.
Sock it to the guys over there. But but Ridley Scott really was insistent about making sure that Saladin, who was who played my general,
yes,
and Imad, his first lieutenant, were humanized. They were you liked them. You didn't think that they were as
the only bad guys in that movie were the Knights Templar.
Yeah. They were really atrocious.
Yeah, both sides of the final battle were both good guys fighting for what they believed in.
Absolutely.
And it was beautifully done.
Yeah, it was. I had to take my hat off to Fox for being brave enough to be sweet about Muslims, about Arabs, especially Saladin, who, by the way, is said to have invented chivalry.
Right.
It didn't exist before Saladin. That's great. Lovely. That's terrific. Where are you in the world? Are you New York territory?
I live in New Jersey, but I work in New York City.
Right. And how has this trip been, this 5 months for
It's
you?
been shorter because the bus hasn't been as crowded. I've actually had to work the entire time.
Literally.
I've worked the entire lockdown, so I've been going into the city every day during the week.
Wow, so you've been essential.
Considering I've been designated an essential worker, but I work in the legal field. So I don't think I'm essential because I'm just helping people sue other people.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we got to sue. You ain't suing, you ain't living.
But yeah, I'm getting a paycheck and I have my health insurance, so I'm not complaining.
That's great.
I'm trying not to rub it in everyone's faces, but I can't complain.
But is it a field you enjoy?
I do enjoy the work. I mean, it's an appeals company, so it's not trial law, it's appeals law. Yeah. And I've had my hand in everything from the United States Supreme Court down to local divorce cases.
Yeah. I mean, appeals is, to me, the most honorable element of the law. I mean, I think there's a lot of honorable elements because, what my wife does, she's a state defender. The appeal part of the system is just pure law. And that's why I love it. And it's just, and if this fails, it will be decided later.
Right.
And we will find out.
Any questions you have of what went on, you can take it to there. They'll look at it. You're given 15 minutes to argue your case, and that's it in most courts.
Yeah. And
then, the judges will look over everything and decide.
Thank goodness for you guys. I mean, it really is important because there's so many people who, for one reason or another, it just goes wrong.
We don't get into the people themselves. We never get to know the defendants. So it's just pure paperwork, what was able to be admitted to court.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very cut and dry. This is what's needed. It doesn't get into beyond this.
No, it's just not personal. I mean, nor is it from the judge's point of view. So at an appeal level, it's just, did you tick all the boxes? And has this been done right? Is this constitutional?
Yes.
This guy's been given his due process, or this person has been given their due process. I think that's astonishing. I mean, I think I know that most lawyers would love to be in the appellate side. It's like a kind of, that's the holy grail. So congratulations. How have you been for the last 5 months personally? I mean, with COVID, with your family?
My family's doing well. Both of them are home from school. They're going to go back twice a week.
Right.
My wife is considered an essential worker. She works in an accounting firm for a medical supply company. So she has to go there.
Yeah.
But fortunately, she works close to home, so she can respond to issues with the kids. I, on the other hand, have had health issues. I had a heart attack last year.
Oh, dear.
Didn't know I had a heart attack last year.
Right.
It came down to the secondary and tertiary symptoms getting me to the point where I went to the hospital. And I'm a lifelong asthmatic. And I walked in and I said, I'm having an asthma attack. I need to, get it under control.
Yeah.
Half hour in, the doctor looks at me and goes, "You're not having a asthma attack.
You're having a heart attack."
And then, I sit there and I go, and I have a family history of heart issues. And I sit there and go, how bad is it? And you're obviously not leaving today, but everything seems to be okay. We got the blood work. You have you're showing the signs of having had a heart attack. Then I've had the genetic test and I have the family trait.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for surgery to have a pacemaker and defibrillator inserted.
And do you have enough stamina to go places, to walk, to feel?
I have good days and bad days. I'm overweight, so that's not helping things. But I walk to work. Sometimes I'll take the bus to,
Good for you. Yeah.
Because I'm feeling lazy. I do get to be lazy, but I can't use it as an excuse. I'm actually the kind of guy who lied to get into the military out of high school.
Yeah.
I was asthmatic, and I actually went in as the last of the batch of the Cold War soldiers.
Right.
And they didn't ask questions they didn't want answered.
Sure.
I actually made it through 7 years of National Guard duty.
Wow.
So
wow.
If I put my mind to it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you're driven.
I like to look at things as the worst possible outcome, so it gets better.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and go, everything's going to be fine, and then
absolutely.
And I'm not. I did make pretty bad jokes that the doctors looked at me in the hospital before I said I was joking. Like she was telling me to die in 2 different tests on the same day because it would ruin my kidneys. And with a straight face, I looked at her and said, "You can't do that. When I die, I need to donate something." And she stopped what she was doing. She looked at me and I said, "I'm kidding. I just make bad jokes when I'm nervous. I am kidding." She actually appreciated the gallows humor of it.
Yeah,
and
course.
We've been joking about that ever since. But I felt bad for her because here's this doctor doing everything she can, trying to keep me calm, and I'm saying I need to donate some organs when I die.
What is it that you really yearn to do that after all this nightmare has passed behind us? And what is it that you and your wife, or you and your friends, that you do that made you so happy that you look forward to again?
It's actually the Star Trek stuff. We used to get together at least once a month at a local bar.
Yeah.
And talk about the show, talk about this, talk about anything, just socialize.
Yeah.
The bar we used to go to regularly is closed down permanently due to this.
Yeah.
We had a backup place, and the bar manager is insisting on getting a uniform if we're going to move in there. So I'm going to have to buy a uniform for the bar manager.
Absolutely.
Not a bad price, but I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends and everyone and hugging. I mean, I've seen family. Not hugging, but we've gotten together in public where you can.
Yeah, we're the same.
My kids had it worse because my wife and my daughter are from Belarus. Speaking of Belarus, and because of COVID, they weren't able to take their summer trip over.
Yeah.
So I actually feel bad for my in-laws because the 2 or 3 months that they see them in the summer, that's all they get of them in person.
Absolutely. We've got Belarus in the pub.
And now that everything's going,
pear-shaped
way there,
yeah.
It was actually my second trip to Europe. My first trip was Moscow to bring my daughter here to the United States, which is a great story for another time because we didn't speak the same language.
We will absolutely talk about that another time. Listen, Ed.
Yeah, I ran out of time.
No, you haven't really. I'm going to call it because it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. But I can't thank you enough for sharing. I want to hear about bringing in your Russian daughter and learning how to speak Russian or English, depending which way around that goes.
She learned English. I'm an idiot. She's a smart
well,
girl.
we're going to keep tabs on your ticker and make sure that that's all going well. We want to get updates on you.
I'll be here for a long time. Don't worry.
Good. Thank you. And come back and talk to us. Give us an update.
Thank you for everything for you and Mel for doing this. Thank you for everything. It's a wonderful diversion every week.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you very much.
Lovely to see everybody tonight. Thank you all for joining us. So I hope you guys can join us. And we'll say good night.
Have a good
night, everybody.